Like, you've done all this stuff. You sold thousands of records. You've had been full-time for a number of years doing music, surviving off your merch, selling CDs. And then how long ago is it where you go viral on Twitter and everything just 10X's for you?
Ruslan.
And I believe it, if you look back in hindsight and you see the providence of even your journey going to school, learning what you learned, your education, like all that worked together to get you to being an entrepreneur and to being a creative.
Yeah. And I think, you know, some people are just wired, and people are wired in different ways. Most people are not wired to be entrepreneurs.
Right.
That's the reality. I think some people have this misconception that most people are entrepreneurs and most people, it's like, no, most people are not creative and most people are not entrepreneurs. No, it's true. Most people aren't creative.
No, you're totally right. It's just, it's sad though, because it's not entrepreneur. You want everybody, I want everybody to be entrepreneurial because I see the upside. Like I see, like, if I'm providing a service for somebody in the market and they're paying me $20 an hour, that means I'm worth $40 an hour. But if I could take that same skill applied to my own vision and build that up, then it could be worth more than just $40 an hour, you know, because then I own the entire product. So I think you're totally right. It just bums me out when you have that.
I'd imagine you have quite a high degree of risk tolerance, though, just in terms of your personality. I think so. To be an entrepreneur, you kind of have to.
Yes and no. So I don't know if I told you this. So me and my wife, we went through a Dave Ramsey program where we paid off all of our debt. Okay. We paid off $45,000 in student loans and car notes, and I mean, and prior to this, like I was not good with money. I didn't come from money. I didn't, just rough, financially illiterate. And I was able to. So because we did that, we paid off all of our debt. Then we saved 6 months of living expenses, and then we had a kid. And so, for me, my son was the one that was like, all right, what are you going to do with your life, dude? You know, because you can keep going that way. Yeah. Not, like, he didn't say that to me, but having a kid. No. Having a kid. Having a kid. He was a baby. That would have been crazy, right? It's just like,
yo, Dad,
what you doing with your life, yo? Having a kid was that fork in the road moment. But I had 6 months of living expenses in the bank. I didn't have any debt. Our overhead was next to nothing. All we had was rent, food. You know what I mean? So yes, I'm willing to take risks, but I had enough momentum and I had enough passive income coming in that it worked out.
Yeah,
so I don't know if I now I definitely have more risk, but I'm definitely not like betting my whole family.
When I say a high risk tolerance, I don't mean being reckless.
Yeah, okay.
I don't mean being reckless. What I mean is most people, simply the thought of not being employed or not
terrifies them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's the norm. Yeah, that's the norm. So I don't mean like, go crazy or whatever, have a family and just quit everything you're doing and just go try something crazy. That's not what I mean. But I'd imagine if you, I don't know.
No, that's good. That's good. I think you did a lot of this. Well, you did the work. Like, you literally went out, did the work. Yeah. You hustled. You sold CDs hand by hand. And this is before. I don't know if you envisioned. I didn't envision myself doing a podcast and being on all these different things. Yeah. Did you back then envision yourself as like, yo, I'm gonna be an influencer, a podcaster, write a book, right? You wrote the book, and so now you have your hand in so many different things where you basically scaled and you essentially stacked your talent. You know, you a rapper, then you transition into just being really good on social. Now you're podcasting, then you wrote a book, right? And you just kind of kept leveling up. Did you see that when you thought, I'm going for the music full time?
No, I didn't. No, I just saw the music. Music. I mean, prior to doing music, actually, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a cartoonist. So I've always had that creative side there. And then that switched into music in my sort of late teens, early 20s. So no, I didn't have that vision initially. But a couple of things sort of led down that line. So I would say part of the first one would have been the changes in the way that people consume music and media and, some of the technological advances. So when I started out, in terms of social media, it was just MySpace. And then
I remember MySpace.
Yeah, it was just MySpace, and you know, almost everybody was still buying physical CDs. So I was like, okay, cool. My goal was just about selling CDs, selling CDs. Like that was the model, simple. And then it kind of got to a stage where downloading started coming in, you know, let alone streaming. And each time that kind of disrupted the world, you know, that disrupted the music world very heavily. So I thought, okay, I need to have a rethink. I need to diversify more. I need merch. You know, I need to sell T-shirts. I need to sell hats. I need to do that. And you know, merch has been my bread and butter for the past 4 years or so.
Okay.
Right.
So primarily merch is like definitely keeping you going.
Yeah. Certainly over the last 4 years.
Okay.
And
your merch is dope too. Like the Team Zuby stuff is fly.
Yeah. You know, people always joke about me wearing it all the time, but
yeah, Joe Rogan is like, yo, why did you wear your? I'm like, what do you mean? If I'm coming on the biggest podcast in the world, I'm absolutely wearing my own merch. Should be happy my name isn't tattooed on my face.
Yeah, and it definitely worked because then he talked about it on his podcast with Bill Burr too. Yeah, so you know, it definitely. The fact that it makes people talk is kind of.
No, it's brilliant.
Yeah, but it's just
so entrepreneurial, like especially if you're coming from a hip hop space.
Because
we grew up in the same era where everybody had a clothing line. You know what I'm saying? Like not just merch, they had clothing line, Rockaware, State Property. You know, so I think it's brilliant. You really went viral. You had done this is crazy. Like you've done all this stuff. You sold 25,000 or whatever. At that, I don't know how many you sold at that point, but you sold thousands of records. Had been full time for a number of years doing music, surviving off your merch, selling CDs. And then how long ago was it where you go viral on Twitter and everything just 10x's for you?
February 26, 2019.
So I'm giving you guys the timeline because so many of you guys are so impatient. Zuby, you start rapping in 2006.
That's right.
You go full time 5 years later.
Yep.
Then, what is it, 8 years later, you really, really get your just 10x explosion, right? I don't know how I started following you. I think you maybe followed me through the Brandman Sean thing you told me earlier. Yeah. So I started following you, and I remember looking at your numbers, and you probably had like 15,000, 20,000 on Twitter. Like and then I looked up, and all of a sudden you're like at 70,000, and I'm like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? And you're also one of the verified accounts that follows me. So then I kind of see your stuff more. I feel like Twitter kind of rolls out. So
135,000 now. Just hit that.
Let's go. So what I love about it, one, from a timing standpoint, like, you are not an overnight success.
Oh, no.
Right?
No.
You're not an overnight success until you're an overnight success. And everybody's like, who's this Zuby British rapper? I'm from London. I've never heard of him, right? Yeah. Like everybody's all mad. But so you go viral with this video. I think the video is hilarious. Talk about the video because I think it's so brilliant because I think what you did is you continued scaling.
Yeah.
CDs aren't selling. You know what I'm saying? As they used to.
Yeah.
I got to do merch. I got to pivot to merch, right? Oh, but, you know, attention, conversation, to dialogue. I don't think you were necessarily thinking, oh, this is going to go viral. I think you were just being yourself. But a lot of times the stuff that goes viral is the times you're being yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And even Gary Vee tonight said, you go viral by just trying over and over again. Yeah. So talk about that. Talk about like what led into that. Got that video exploding, and then we kind of talk and share about the video.
No problem, man. So really, a big shift happened in 2018, where I just, for multiple reasons, including partially just the way I felt that the world was going, I started to just do a little more social commentary and reveal more of myself, right? So all throughout those first 10, 11 years of my career, I would always do my best, try to not rock the boat. You know, I didn't want to polarize anybody. I didn't want to put out any opinions out there that are too strong, anything political, anything social, anything cultural that might be seen as, you know, potentially divisive or controversial or contentious, anything. I was like, I'm just going to stay away from that. I've always discussed it in private with people and had, you know, kind of deep discussions around certain issues. But I kind of just felt like I need to lend my voice to certain conversations. So I started doing that a little bit more in 2018. And in 2018, I gained, you know, several thousand followers through some of that social commentary stuff.
So you're going from what? So can you just throw out some numbers? 2018,
yeah,
you're
sure.
at 10,000 followers, and you grow how many?
Yeah, so maybe beginning of 2018, I was maybe around 9,000.
Okay.
And then maybe by the end of it, around 15,000, something like that.
So that's still great growth. I mean, you still grow by 50%.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. That's on Twitter. And then, yeah, I just started, you know, as I've gotten older and more mature, and you know, and as other stuff has changed around me, I've just become a lot less concerned about
what people think and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like simultaneously really caring about what people think who are close to me or who know me, my friends, my family, my you know, even my fans and supporters. I greatly care about what people think about me in that regard. But in terms of people who already don't like me or kind of think they don't like me or oppose me on certain things, it's like I don't care.
Yeah, what does it really matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And there are certain things, like I don't feel like I need to put absolutely everything on my brain out there or express every single view and opinion and thought that I have. Like that can be a little bit reckless. But if it's something that I do feel is important, why should I shy away from this thing?
Yeah.
Right? That's not being authentic. If I'm seeing other people, especially if you've got someone out there, you know, shouting very loudly about something that I actually oppose. Why should I just acquiesce and be silent in return? It's like, no, actually, this is what I think. Let me lend my opinion. And by doing that, I found that I've emboldened and inspired a lot of other people. I mean, the amount of, you see some of the emails and DMs I get is crazy. Some from some pretty prominent people.
You got to tell me that off the record.
So I get so many messages like, man, like I love what you're doing. You know, like your voice is so important and so powerful. So people have seen that, and then that kind of culminated earlier this year with the video where I posted where I said that I identified as a woman, and I posted a video of me deadlifting 230 kilos and breaking the British women's deadlift record.
That is amazing. That tweet was written so well, where you was like, "Yo, I identify as a woman for this 9 seconds.
Yeah, it was like
I broke it. Don't be a bigot. Like they were like, don't be a bigot.
Yeah, it was like I keep hearing about how there's no biological difference between men and women in 2019.
Yeah.
So watch me destroy the British women's deadlift record without trying. P.S. I identified as a woman while lifting the weight. Don't be a bigot.
So good.
And it just, I tweeted this about 10 a.m. in the morning, UK time. By about 11 a.m., it had hit about 50,000 views.
Whoa. That's quick.
And it was really, like, as soon as I tweeted, it just started flying. Like, the numbers were just flickering up. The likes and the retweets, it was just going up in real time.
Wow.
And I was just like, oh my gosh. And then it started getting retweeted by accounts with 500,000 followers, 1 million followers, 2 million followers.
Wow.
I saw it get retweeted by Piers Morgan and Coulter. Just like
that's amazing.
Like different countries, they're just like, oh my gosh. And it was entering all these realms. It was entering like the political realm, the sports realm, like MMA fighters were retweeting it just bodybuilders were it just started going out into all these places, and I was just like, oh my gosh. By the time I went to bed that night, it was on 300,000 views. I wake up in the morning at 600,000, and it just went bananas. It went bananas. And then the BBC started, like, I started getting messages on my phone from like, oh, I'm from this radio station. We want to talk to you about your viral tweet. I just started getting all these messages and stuff. And then, so that just kept growing. I mean, I was gaining about 100 followers an hour for several weeks.
Wow.
100 followers an hour on Twitter. So every day, like I grew from, when I tweeted it, I had 19,000 followers, and within a matter of weeks, I'd cracked 50,000.
Wow.
And it just kept going and going, and then I started doing media appearances, and then Joe Rogan talked about it on his podcast, that it was on Fox News, and it was on Sky News, and it just kept growing and growing. And what's really important, I think, to point out here is that stuff goes viral on Twitter all the time, but most people that happens to, they aren't able to do anything with it because they don't have anything beyond that particular thing they said,
and
which happened to go viral.
A decade and a half
exactly
of not just music, but of experience of being an entrepreneur and running a business.
Exactly. So once that drew people's attention to me, but once the attention was there, people were like, oh, he raps. Oh, I like this guy's music. Oh, he does a podcast. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, he's done this. Oh, he's doing that. Oh, he's just interesting and funny on Twitter.
Right.
So a lot of people just started following me
because
they saw that there was much more beneath the surface. So I was able to just use that to continually grow my audience and to find new opportunities and to get invited onto different podcasts and radio shows and TV shows. And, you know, opportunities just kept coming. And it's been a bizarre 6 months in a lot of ways. I mean, even me being in the US right now, had it not been for that moment, it's unlikely that was kind of like the first domino in terms of what's happened this year.
Julio Jones. I'm from Atlanta, you throw me the ball and I score in the zone. They hit me up for a deal like it's something I do on the phone. Just cause it's me in the studio don't mean I do it alone. Julio Jones.